Let's have a quick discussion on non-functional requirements. What are these non-functional requirements are and why we want these non-functional requirements? We'll have a quick introduction to the non-functional requirements. So again, you need to explain what is a non-functional requirement is in your words. You don't need specific terms. You just define these quality attributes of a system. So the non-functional requirements are specifically defining the quality attributes of the system. In other hands, it's specifying how the system should perform, but not what to do. If it is what to do, that means it's a functional requirement. If it is a non-functional requirement, it's specifying how the system should perform. So we have influence the user satisfaction, system usability, and many other aspects in these non-functional requirements. So what are these non-functional requirements are basically, these are the facts that we are defining how the system should perform. The color-wise, security-wise, or any other factor might be there. It's telling how the system should perform, where these actions are in the human life affected. These are quality. The color is a quality. The stress or the load is a quality that we are speaking. Security is a measurable fact that we have in non-functional requirements. So all these quality attributes are under these non-functional requirements. What you need to understand specifically is functional requirements are very important because those are defined in the functions. In case if a given function is not working, then that action or the statements of these actions or the flow of the business could interrupt it. But once it comes to the non-functional requirements, it's not directly impact to the system functionalities. For an example, if there's a login, it's a functional requirement. If the functional requirement is not working, for sure, a chain of actions would be stopped. But once it comes to non-functional requirements, you don't want to bother a lot in such kind of a point. But these are very important, especially like security, stress, load kind of things. Even the color affects a lot. So the non-functional requirements are equally valuable in the software development context. So it ensures the system performance and the reliability. It's very important. Improve the user experience and maintainability. Because if we have defined very well functionalities, but the user interface is really ugly, so users want to interact with this kind of a system, which could be ends up a big, huge problem. And it assists in architecture and design decisions. These non-functional requirements are telling how many people can access to a given website in a given time, or what kind of security measurements that we are focusing on, and so on and so forth. What are the common types of these non-functional requirements? It's a very common question that you can find in software engineering field. Performance, scalability, security, usability, reliability, maintainability. These are very common types of non-functional requirements. Now again, there could be a question that given a scenario, you need to find what are the non-functional requirements are. Then you could be able to find these kinds of things: performance related information, scalability related information, security related information, usability related information. Likewise, you can find in a given paragraph or a given scenario. Or else, again, you could be fired for a question like this. There is a scenario that focused on functional requirements. There is no any non-functional requirements are given at all. So what you are supposed to do is you need to define what kind of non-functional requirements would place in this context as the optimal non-functional requirements. in whatever the aspect that you are dealing with. So these kinds of knowledge, understanding the non-functional requirements are really valuable. I don't want to discuss all of these things now because I believe you are much aware with these things. Here we have performance related information where the response times, throughput and information, scalability, how the growth can be handled in a given system. Security is mentioned in the protection of the data, the sources that we are dealing with. Usability, reliability, maintainability, again, same kind of non-functional requirements that we must focus on in a given system. For an example, system must respond within 2 seconds under the peak load. It's specifically mentioned. The system must respond within 2 seconds. It's measurable. Its specificity is given. Specifically, we can test it. It's under this load. Or 99.9 uptime availability is in there. There should be support of 10,000 concurrent users or encrypt all users' password with SHA-556. So these are some of examples. Now, all of these examples you could be able to see. It's a measurable. It's a specific. You can test these non-functional requirements. So there's a myth that I have seen some places. Some of the people are telling non-functional requirements can't be tested. No, actually, non-functional requirements must be testable. If it is testable, that means it's measurable. That means we have added a quantitative factor to this qualitative scenario. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. Whenever there's a question, you should focus on what kind of question is actually, and you should take all of these things into your hands. There are many challenges in non-functional, defining non-functional requirements. It's difficult to measure and quantify because if we test it in a load testing, we are telling it system should load within 2 seconds. We have some of issues, the peak issues, network issues, lot of other facts also there. Then often looked in early stages. Usually the people don't check it out. Conflict with functional requirements. Non-functional and functional requirements are tightly coupled, but of course, these are two different things. Requires continuous monitoring. So this is a really challenge. So people are doing different kinds of tests, sometimes daily test or daily check. Sometimes we release a sanity test for all of these things that we are going through every day to check whether these systems are performing as expected level of non-functional requirements are in the live system or the developed system that is working in real world. There are a lot of issues we have, there are challenges we have, is of course, but we have to mitigate all these challenges. There are a couple of best practices that we can go through. Specify the measurable and testable criteria. How you are going to measure it, how you are going to test your non-functional requirement. Always you have to involve stakeholders in the definition. So we have to go for a balanced trade-off between the requirements and use the industry standards and the benchmarks whenever we are focusing on non-functional requirements. I have given a very quick overview for you. I believe you understood and you have a quick recap on these non-functional requirements.